It's our last lunchtime video on UK hours, I think.
Yeah.
For me and you before we go to the States.
Yes, we're going to be doing the
breakfast videos.
Well, breakfast our time will be tea time your time, so we're going to flip it. So you're going to get the wrap up, which Rob's been doing at lunchtime, and then we're going to be doing the videos.
The sound of one man having a breakdown. If you've not subscribed to the Anfield Raps Tour Player, but you want the sound of one man having a breakdown, then Rob Gutman's solo wrap-ups are somewhat phenomenal.
Yeah. I feel like they're going to be used in the future in some sort of court battle. They're going to be played to a jury. I'm not really sure why.
I know exactly what you mean. So
we're going to flip them. So we're going to be doing the videos out in America, but because of the time difference, it'll be about tea time for you. And Rob's going to be talking into an abyss for your enjoyment. So there you are. So there's going to be plenty from everyone. But we are doing this on. It's still sunny in Liverpool, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit overcast, but it's all right. It's warm.
Yeah, it's doing all right. Wijnaldum looks like it's done. 25 million.
Yep.
Are you all right with it?
Yeah.
Broadly?
Yeah, fast and kicks in the goal.
Yeah.
Can play a number of different positions. Probably doesn't start for us, but I think it's dead hard for us to buy forwards. I keep saying this on all the shows. I actually think it's really hard for us to buy forwards and midfielders in terms of the fact that it's difficult for us to get a pretty certain leg up on what we've already got. You know, how do you buy better than Coutinho? It's quite difficult. You know what Coutinho's going to do. Yeah. So we bought Mane, who's a clear improvement. Well, who should be a clear improvement on Lallana in terms of he's got more pace and got more goals. Whereas you look at the rest of them, for instance, how do you buy? You know, we're going to struggle to buy a better centre forward than Daniel Sturridge. There's other issues and question marks around his fitness, but we're going to struggle to do that. We want to keep giving Origi games. So I think Wijnaldum comes in. He probably alternates or is an alternative to or covers Firmino in that position. You get the impression he can compete for the centre midfield position. He might be the sort of player who plays in a 3 if we play 4-3-3, and he's in the 3 there with Chan and Henderson or Milner. So all I think is strong squad addition. If he scores 1 and 3 playing football for Liverpool, great.
You mentioned Lallana and Milner there, and people are doing the starting 11s, aren't they? And doing this is what I want to see. And very rarely do you see either Lallana, well, especially Lallana, but also Milner in there. But he picked them a lot last year, didn't he?
Yeah.
He picked them a lot, and I think there might be a couple of surprises this season in terms of who misses out. Maybe I wouldn't necessarily want to predict it, but I think for people just expecting, Milner's not going to play at all, Lallana's not going to play at all. I'm not sure. I'm not saying that they necessarily will, but he picked them pretty much every time he could last year. The pair of them, and I'm starting to think maybe he's going to drop Milner back when we're going to see a lot more of James Milner in centre midfield, which I'm not necessarily a fan of. But then Klopp knows more about football than me. And Lallana, you're looking around when he plays, he's got now and thinking, well, he might not even get on the bench, but then he loved him last year.
It wouldn't surprise me if he goes to, I think that firstly, I think that there's the way in which the season's now sort of opened up with the games that we've got early on.
Yeah.
I think there's loads of stuff that's going to happen around. It wouldn't surprise me if it almost feels like players disappear. So, let's say first 7, Firmino plays 6 the first 7 and then you don't see him for 4 games.
Right.
Something like that wouldn't surprise me if he's going to try and almost get them to such a peak level of fitness, keep them there, and then as soon as they're not at a peak level of fitness, well, I've got another lad who's going to come in who's as fit as he's ever been in his life.
Yeah.
And then in the meantime, you're going through a little bit of a dip, and then you come back up, and then you're back on peak, but now the left mid's shattered, and we want to give him sort of 4 or 5 games to get back sharp, keep him involved off the bench. But do you know what I mean? It wouldn't surprise me if there's all sorts of stuff in his mind in terms of how he's going to square a very specific circle, which is how to outrun sides in the runningest league in the world, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that might be one of the things that's in his head as a solution. I think the most interesting thing about the Wijnaldum signing is that I don't know enough about Zielinski as a player, but Dahoud supposedly is very much a midfielder who runs the game for you. Yeah. Whereas I don't think anyone thinks that's Wijnaldum, and he himself wouldn't think it was. And maybe we were lacking that player, but we've decided to go for the idea of a lad who breaks from midfield, breaks the lines. And I think that, the more I think about the way in which we're going to be next season, is I think you're going to see lots and lots of tons of intensity from Liverpool, and not maybe at times you might be slightly frustrated with the quality, but I think you're going to see loads and loads of Liverpool just trying to force it and make it happen, and that's potentially no bad thing. And going back to the Lallana point, it wouldn't surprise me if first game of the season we line up at least with something that you write down on paper as 4-2-3-1, but the 3 across Coutinho, Lallana, Mane, and the 1 up front is Firmino. that wouldn't surprise me at all if that's how he solves the Arsenal problem, if you know what I mean. And then as a centre midfield too of some combination of Chan, Grujic, Henderson and Milner. And you're almost looking at that going, well, you know, he's got 2 strikers on the bench here and Ings isn't even in the 18. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would not surprise me in the slightest.
Yeah. He's got options. He's certainly got options, and
that's what he's bought for himself.
Yeah, and well, yeah, he looks like and that's what he might want to do. And he has a lot from his attacking midfielders as well. So having 3 run themselves into the ground for 60 minutes and then being able to swap 2 of them on 60, and you know, last man standing type thing, doesn't necessarily say a bad thing. We're not getting Goethe. He's gone to Dortmund. He was doing me head in anyway, to be honest with you. So yeah. See you later.
He's going to do their heads in the 18.
Well, they'll get over it. They seem like nice fellas when we went over.
Yeah, they did seem like nice fellas.
Follow might be off as well. Looks like a season-long loan from Burnley. It's a funny one, this one, because he said he didn't like loans, but I presume that's for the younger players. For someone like Flanagan, who's a little bit older, he looked like he needed games last season, didn't he? Towards the end of last season when he was getting the odd games, he looked like someone who could do with a run of 10-15 games, and you don't necessarily want it for Liverpool.
No, and Burnley's a great move for him. If you get to those games at Burnley, he's playing Premier League football, he'll have a lot of defending to do, but they work hard again, they're an intense football team. I think Burnley would be a good move. I take the point on that one, but again, that one throws open the idea of a loose covering his right back, and that's where, for instance, you might see Milner pop up there a little bit more than Milner himself might like. On the Flanagan's loan to Burnley side, I think there's massive positives for the player in terms of getting himself back fit, and also if it doesn't happen with Liverpool for whatever reason, he's going to prove himself as a Premier League footballer, which is what he definitely is. So I think all round it's sensible. And on the loans thing, I think that the manager thought loads of things on the 10th of October that he doesn't necessarily think on the 10th of April. Yeah. And I think that he must now be beginning to think to himself, well, I've had a look at this under-21 football and there's not enough of it, and I don't like it very much. Yeah. I don't feel as though everyone takes it as seriously as they should. Where, you know, I don't know enough about German under-21 football, and by enough I mean anything. But there's I suspect that given the slightly more holistic, enjoyment-based approach to the game in Germany, it wouldn't surprise me if they know what they're doing with the developmental stuff in that arc.
I mean, it's split differently as well. They've got under 17s, under 19s, under 23s, I think it is. And that kind of just feels to me to kind of make more sense, really, because, I don't know, in the way kind of footballers have developed, to kind of throw 18-year-olds there's a group of 18-year-olds now who are too old for the under-18s team, but then they're just kind of playing with everyone else who can't get in the first team. And so I think 17s, 19s, 23s, how they do it in Germany, kind of makes more sense in my head. But
so it wouldn't surprise me if, for instance, if we see more loans than we might have expected when he brought everyone back from loan around last November. Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me now if, you know, maybe if he's happier with the clubs that they're going to. But for instance, already Danny Ward has talked about going on loan to Huddersfield. Yeah. You know, you're going to talk about them in a minute, but I really don't see the sense in not sending Shea Ojo to go and play top-end championship football in an ideal world. Cameron Brannigan becomes difficult to see where he gets his games from, which he definitely needs. You know, you can go on like this. It's easier to see how Kev Stewart gets in the first team and comes off a bench every now and again than Cameron Brannigan at this stage. So it wouldn't surprise me if and it's, you know, be an interesting thing to speak to the manager about, if he's had a little bit of a rethink, or at least can see why everyone was sent out on loan when when he first got in, he was like, why are all these lads not playing for me? Yeah,
I mean, Ojo's one to watch because he got a bit fed up at Wolves, and I think he just couldn't be bothered with the whole thing by the end. So what sort of what we're doing here, you know, and so I think you've got to be a little bit careful with Ojo. I think he might be one. You think you know what, he's just better here at Liverpool. He wants to be a Liverpool player. This is where he feels like he should be, and it worked out for a little bit at Wolves that it very much didn't. Yeah, Ojo's playing right now. He's playing for the under-19s. He's on the bench. They're losing 1-0 to Italy in the semi-final.
They want to get him on the pitch.
They want to get him on the pitch. He's been really good in this tournament. So
I've seen some of it.
Yeah, he's like me. He started about half the games, been on the bench for the others, but he's made contributions. So they want to get him on. It sounds like they're struggling a bit to get the passes going. So 1-0 down against Italy. Italy scored the penalty. I love that Italy teams are just Italy. The 1-0 from a pen. They've been a bit cagey, but they've got ahead. Sound.
It's going to be very difficult to get through the side of them now, I think, John.
Under-19s, they know what they're doing.
They know what they're about. These under-19 lads, they've got loads of experience. Yeah. They've got a lad playing for them who's 27 with a black name. Go on.
I think that's about it.
Is that it?
Yeah, so what we got coming out today?
Coming out today, we've got Ban This Filth lined up. We've got a Pink from last night that you might have missed, and that's one of the reasons why we've only got Ban This Filth. Do listen to the Pink, it was excellent, really. It was really good of Paul Sweeney to come and do it with us, and I thought that Paul was great, frankly.
Yeah, he was very good,
took tons and tons of sense.
Almost say he carried it.
You could say he carried it, and it'd be true to do so. So that's coming out, sorry, that's already out, so do listen to that if you haven't had a chance on the player. Tomorrow there's a City Talk show, which we're sort of pre-recording today because we fly, so we're speaking to, we've spoken to Ollie Kay already about his book about Adrian Doherty, which is it was a really good interview. It's a really interesting book, so that's coming out tomorrow. And there was AFQ last night as well, which you might be saving up for yourself.
I listened to the coach home as well. The coach home was this week, it was very good. But also we spoke to a Newcastle journalist,
Chris Waugh.
That's the one, about Wijnaldum, and he gave a bit of insight into obviously seeing him a lot more than us. So there's a free clip of that as well, so I'll tweet that out now.
Excellent. Subscribe to the Anfield Tour player. If you're over in the United States and you're going to watch Liverpool against Chelsea or Milan, come and see us the night before. We'll be tweeting that all the way through. Really want as many people to come as possible because it makes it more of a laugh, and we can all have a big party and a lovely time. And if we don't see you, we're over in the States. We'll be doing these videos. Take it easy.